say bluntly, one region has so many persons on the basis of language, another region has so many persons on take the southeast, for instance, which you would say, or the eastern region, that as it were at the time. You had the Ibibios who were in the eastern region. You had the Ananks who were in the eastern region. You had the Efiks, and parts of them. You also had the Jaws, and so they were all there in the eastern region. Were you going to then say that they were one ethnic group and then there was a single ethnic champion for that group? If you came to the north, the same view that you were going to express, from Sokoto right to Maiduguri, were you going to then say that there was one ethnic group that you were going to pursue? Come over to the western region before 1963, were you going to say, yeah, there are historical affinities, no question about that, but were you then going to say that everyone, the Urhobos were the same as the Ekitis, for instance, or that the Jaws were the same as the Oyos? So, yes. So I think that it tends to simplify the ethnic toga by saying that they exacerbated, or rather placed, as you referenced them, a primacy on ethnicity. I think it was more primacy on the regions rather than ethnicities.
All right.
Yes.
Was that in itself, was that healthy for the federal structure? We're looking at the root, we're looking at the foundations right now. Do you think that was the primacy that we can both allude to, that we can both relate with, of the regions over the entire structure? Do you think that it was healthy?
On the basis of how the Nigerian state came about, you would argue in a positive sense that it was healthy. It was healthy because there were diversities. And these diversities came not just in terms of cultures, not just also in terms of religion, but sometimes also in terms of aspirations, and having the proper understanding of the regional dynamics was obviously something that was going to assist us. But what then mattered most was how the center functioned to weld together these various tendencies and aspirations without undermining the center and therefore the spirit of the Nigerian state. You can use different measures to assess what happened at that time. On a developmental scale, people will tell you, for instance, that development was accelerated because the regions focused on what they were doing. There was heavy competition. Southwest, for instance, WNTV in 1959 came. And then before you knew it, other regions said, oh, we must also take on this. You had universities, education, for instance, being established, free and compulsory education. In the Southwest, others also said, we're going to do this. In terms of agricultural production, you also saw what the emphasis was, like for the various regions. So it was, in that sense, heavy rivalry, heavy competition. What was critical was how to sustain the center so that no one region became too powerful as to overrun either the center or overrun the others.
All right, now, so let's take a break from that and go back now to the disconnect between what they thought and what we see.
I want to ask our viewers to, if they are very familiar with some of these points, just to take their minds back before I answer that question, or as I answer that question. We must be mindful of 3 catastrophic events that happened to Nigeria after independence in 1960. In my opinion, those 3 catastrophic events affected,
distorted,
affected, if you may, refracted the
realization,
dream
right,
of the founding fathers
Wow.
and where they were headed. These events occurred within 15 years. I take them one after the other, just by way of itemization. The first was the military coup of January 15, 1966, which snowballed into the Civil War, which was the second catastrophic event, 1967 until 1970. And 5 years after the war ended, there was a third catastrophic event, the purge of the civil service in this country, which led to the decimation of the bureaucracy. And Nigeria has not recovered from that half a century later. In 1975, we were in school. We used to read those headlines, read those stories, either in the Daily Times, Nigerian Observer, Sketch, or the Herald newspaper. Hundreds dismissed, hundreds sacked with ignominy. Those three events I mentioned, because they say they are all interrelated.
Yeah.
Nigeria has not recovered from the impact of those catastrophic events. And everything we are grappling with are either symptomatic of the consequences of these events or responses to the symptoms arising from those events.
Now, all right, so in your opinion, even if even if we were right on course to fulfilling the aspirations of our founding fathers, these three events had tampered with the flow. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely, because if January 15th, 1966 had not happened,
most likely the Civil War may not have happened.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then if the changes in government, because what precipitated the decimation of the civil service in 1975 was a change of government after the overthrow of General Yakubu Gowon.
Yes.
That was when you had this mass purge in the federal and state civil services. At that time, none of these events, if these events had not occurred, Nigeria would have survived, as it were. And I'll give you one example, and I'm sure today, Dayo, everybody complains about leadership recruitment.
Exactly, yeah.
You complain about the quality of some elements in the political class.
Correct.
And we are concerned about the recruitment process. We're concerned about the recruitment process also tells us something about succession. So, if the First Republic had endured beyond 1966, it might have self-corrected, and therefore orderly succession would not have been the kind of challenge that we have today. People are quarreling about all kinds of things. I mean, the list is, you hear about the lack of internal democracy in the various political parties, and you're concerned about the quality of persons who are emerging to seek political office in the first instance. We're talking about the absence of political parties that have ideology. We're talking about political parties that are just mere transport vehicles for their
power capture.
For power capture, and then you capture the power. What next? So if those events, particularly if the trigger of January 1966 had not happened, the others might not have happened. Each of those events, they have their consequences. Particularly January 15, Civil War. We're still dealing with that. Yes, you can see some of the reactions. So much. And then the collapse of the civil service after 1975. It took a while for us to begin to start seeing the consequences of the mass purges that occurred in 1975. Anyone who is in service today, at the federal or state or local government level, would have joined the service not earlier than 1990. Otherwise, you'll be in retirement, or perhaps you had an elongation of your service.
Right.
So you joined in 1990, well, 15 years before then. What culture did these bureaucrats inherit at the time they were entering service?
What was bequeathed to them?
What was bequeathed to them? So it stayed for a while. The service was, look, when I say catastrophic event, a catastrophic event it can occur suddenly and so on and so forth, but usually it's for the debris to settle. It takes a while. It might take a while, which is part of what we are saying. And if we have the time, I will delve into why I consider the collapse of the civil service.
In actual fact,
Yes.
I'm going to take you up on that almost immediately, because first of all, if that happened, and the particular regime or the leader of that regime is hailed to high heavens as a hero in the minds of many Nigerians, he was a hero, he died a hero, blah, 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 blah. I'm wondering then, how come, because you're the second person who's talking about this in a short period of time. I had a guest on Tuesday who made mention of this particular point. And I'm wondering, so if somebody perpetrated this kind of thing, how do you give him the hero's toga, and it has endured for so long?
No, the heroism that is ascribed in this case, you haven't mentioned names, so I won't mention names. But we all know. The heroism is attributable to other deeds, other good deeds of the administration.
Do you agree that one deed has the capacity to cancel, one misdeed has the capacity to cancel?
To nullify.
Exactly.
It has the capacity, but in this instance, the endurance of the heroism of that individual relates to several other things.
All right.
It wasn't as if I recall at the time, I mean, I could have a perception of what was playing out. It wasn't as if the government of the day set out to do what it did in the way it turned out.
All right.
It wasn't as if
the intention was good.
The intention, because part of the rationale for the overthrow of the preceding administration was that there was corruption. And that some civil servants or the civil service were complicitous in the corruption that was alleged at that time. But you know, it's one thing for you to have good intentions, and then another thing for the good intentions to be taken to fruition. What eventually happened was just uncontrolled dismissal of officers. So it became either a witch hunt, or people were just being sacked left, right, and center. And what happened was that the security of tenure was vanquished. And those who were in service saw what happened to their superiors. How some of them who were living in official quarters were hounded out of those official quarters in a matter of days after being removed from office. And these were top echelon civil servants. And if they then found themselves and their families on the street,
Out in the cold,
how were their subordinates to respond to this? The response took a while to kick in, and once it kicked in, it then cemented, and that's why you now have the kind of service that we have in the country that is unable to render service truly in the interests of the citizens and for the country. And I make this point very seriously, because in describing the estates of power, people talk about the 4 estates.
Yes.
The legislature being the first estate, the executive being the second estate, the judiciary being the third estate,
and then the press,
and then the media being the
fourth.
4th estate. So again, all of these are provided for in the Constitution. But there is, in a manner of speaking, a 5th estate, which is the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is stable, ordinarily supposed to be stable, steady, and available to guide the political authorities, more essentially two of the estates, the legislature and the executive, on how to proceed, what to do, how to go about it, and what should be done at the right time. When we complain, just take any aspect of our national life, whether at the local government level, state level, or at the federal level, when people reminisce about PWD, Public Works Department, it was part of the civil service. It's part of the civil service. That a road, you will see a crack on the road before it becomes a pothole and then it becomes a crater, and there are no consequences. When we were growing up, you knew water board. You knew water board. You knew that there had to be water anyway. I think there was a burst pipe anywhere in the city. They had to go and sort it out.
Quickly too.
Quickly. When we were growing up, we didn't know what was a borehole. Borehole, what was the name of borehole? Jerry cans. Turn on the tap water was flowing. So when all of these things, you see, it is because we have resorted to self-help. I don't know how many boreholes are in Nigeria. Probably they run into millions.
I tell you.
I'm sure geologists, geophysicists
are confused.
They might be confused. They have all complained that it's not just the aquifers. It's not just the aquifers, but also the substructure that everybody. But go to other countries where the service is. You go to some hotels that are 29, 30, 40 floors. Turn on the tap, is flowing.
On whatever floor.
On whatever floor is flowing. Here you go. I want to pump water. You go and pump water. Security, you call him. Say, what is happening? The ball is the ball not working? See, when you say this to the younger generation, sometimes it's like you are describing a forgotten era, a bygone era. So, but it is the collapse of in the part of the civil service that also led to this. If you piggyback again, you see what the founding fathers, the inheritors of the founding fathers amongst them, what they try to do. Look at industrialization. The steps towards industrialization and where we are. 65, that will be less than 60 years later. Every other thing else, as I said, they are reactionary. We're trying to respond to the symptoms of the malaise arising from those three catastrophic events I earlier identified. Wow.
Now, I think that we should just take a break, actually a breather, and just quickly come back. And welcome back. We're still on The Polity, and it's coming to you from the Abuja studio of Kaftan Television. And this edition I have with me gives me great joy, and I'm sure that a whole lot of viewers must be excited to have someone who used to be on this side be on the other side. Someone who used to grill all kinds of people on the show on NTA. What's the name again?
Good Morning Nigeria.
Good Morning Nigeria. If you do not know this man on NTA, then you probably have never watched NTA. And in fact, it's still of recent history. It's less than how many years that you stepped out now?
A couple of years.
Yeah, so I mean, you probably, if you ever watched up to like 5 years ago, you know Dr. Kingsley Osadolo. I mean, great writer. I mean, fantastic broadcaster, a master interviewer. As someone, you will find it difficult to run any rings around when he decides to pin you down. It reminds me again of what's the name? There used to be this doctor who was head of NTA at the time. I think before Bruce.
Tony Iradia.
Tony Iradia, exactly. Yeah.
Professor.
Yeah. So now, so he's not professor.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So we continue right now, but then just in case you want to call in, the phone line is being made open right away, 08029938365. And like I said, I say all the time, if that is too fast, I'll go slowly now, 08029938365. And like I say all the time, please do call after putting down the volume of your TV set, and don't be too close to it. And third point is, as much as possible, put down the points you want to make in a bullet form so you don't have to ramble, because the world is set to watch you and to learn from you and to take some of your wisdom. And this is your 1 in a million chance to do it. So do it well. Now let's continue. Now, so we were talking a while ago, and you said 3 catastrophic events that have affected how Nigeria has turned out thus far include the military coup of 1966, and then thereafter, which now spilled over, snowballed, if you like, into the 1967 to 1970 Civil War, and which till now have remained huge, what do you call it now, around our necks. And then, of course, you also talked about the 1975 mass purge of the civil service. And I said a while ago, if that is the case, why do we now, where the person who was leader, and I'm talking about General Murtala Muhammad, late now, why do we wear him the toga of a hero if he did such things that we are now realizing? Maybe it wasn't realized immediately, because I had a guest also 2 days ago who said the same thing, that 1975 purge did us dirty. Now, so you said that there are 1 or 2 other things, several other things that he did right, which probably have helped his hero status to endure. Let's hear them.
Well, thank you, Dio. Just to restate, I made the point earlier that the administration did not set out deliberately to harvest the consequences that emerged from the mass purge of 1975.
Well, that might also be a function of the fact that the homework was not done well.
Well, just hang on a second. What was mismanaged was the sometimes indiscriminate manner in which some persons were lumped together onto the list and then just eased out of the service. And then the way and manner a number of those who were eased out of the service were also treated after they left service. I mean, we talked about that earlier. But in terms of why the head of the administration at that time remains a hero, you also have to look at some of the good deeds that happened and what also happened to him. Majorly, of course, the brevity of his tenure. Just 6 months and 2 weeks into office. Then the circumstances of his own exit, very gruesome. Right there, in broad daylight in Lagos, when that happened at the time. But in terms, for instance, of say foreign policy, you could see the advancement that administration brought to Nigeria's foreign policy dynamism. And in a way, we would also use that to correct the impression that there was no carry forward of the dreams of the founding fathers. Why do I say this?
Right.
Tafawa Balewa, of course, delivered the hallmark speech about Africa being the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy.
Right.
Unfortunately, he went with the first military coup of 1966. 9 years later, 1975, you could see the dynamism that came into Nigeria's foreign policy under the administration of of the euro that we're talking about. In the sense, for instance, to say, okay, Africa is not just the centerpiece of our foreign policy, but we would not relent until the entire continent was totally and fully decolonized. And this was in contradistinction to some of the very powerful powers in the world, including, of course, Western powers. There was a deadlock, as it were, in Angola, who to go for, who not to go for. And the administration stood up and took a stand and said it would be the MPLA, Agostinho Neto. That's the Movement for the Popular Liberation of Angola. That paved the way for the independence of Angola from Portugal in 1975. That same year, Mozambique, under Portuguese administration, also gained its independence. And then the next thing was to say we will focus our attention on Southern Rhodesia, which is Zimbabwe, and also Southwest Africa, which is Namibia now, and ultimately on South Africa. And you could see that going forward, there was always a determination by the Nigerian government to ensure that the rest of Africa was totally decolonized and the rest of Africa was free. That was a dream of our founding fathers, enunciated, of course, as I said, in 1960 by Tafawa Balewa. But at the same time, the question would arise: assuming there had been no interruption, how might we have managed our exertions in seeing to the freedom of the rest of Africa? Because years later, there are analysts who are full of regret that we don't get respected, despite the resources and time and energy we expended on this. Exactly. Not just on the decolonization, we also saw, even during the military, how we played significant roles. For instance, in Liberia. We saw that in Sierra Leone. And from time to time, we continue to do that. So that's a carry forward, as it were, of the dream of our founding fathers. So
on that score, we're doing
great. And part of the attribution goes to the administration that had engaged, in this mass purge of 1975, that had the effect of as it were, unraveling, the Nigerian bureaucracy. In recent decades, there have been attempts at trying to revitalize the civil service, Bureau of Public Service Reforms. You have various institutes. Sevicom, they are doing that. But look, if you deal with the civil service on a day-to-day basis, local government level, state level, and federal level, I'd like you to answer that question. What you think?
What kind of encounter?
What you think? Look, Japan ensured that its very best got recruited into the civil service. Its very best got recruited into the civil service, and I'm sure that you must have heard this sometime in the 80s and 90s. Some of the regulatory entities, particularly financial regulatory entities, had capacity challenges. And players in the financial services sector were just playing around with these gentlemen and women and wreaking all kinds of havoc on the economy. We're all sufferers from those ill effects. Do you have a civil service that is upright? Do you have a civil service that says, look, this is what we are going, this is what we are faced with, this is what we are doing? The civil service that can offer genuine advice and stick by it. And a civil service that can help the political class or the political authority achieve their mandate or their goals.
Wow. That's the question for every one of us. Do we have a civil service that works with the value of integrity? Do we have a civil service for the purpose of the common interest? Or do we have people who are constantly advancing their personal causes over the national interest?
I'm sorry, Dio, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, we have used, or I have said civil service, but I think we can broaden it to be public service.
All right.
Public service will incorporate the civil service.
Civil service.
The civil service is the line ministry,
Yeah.
and of course, their employers are the commissions.
Yes.
If it is at the federal level, the Federal Civil Service Commission, or state commission level, or local government level. But the public service is broader. It will include
political appointees.
Well, some of them are political appointees, various agencies, MDAs, what you call MDAs, the parastatus agencies, and so on and so forth. That's a much broader. That's a much broader category, and I think that's where the real challenge. Yeah, the real challenge lies. Yes.
Wow. So, I'd like you to be a part of this, and I have. We have made the phone line available, and it's 00299-38365. Please do well to call in, and let's observe those protocols as we make our calls, because this is critical. This is critical. We need to move forward from where we were and where we are right now to a better place. I'm sure you agree with that.
Sure, certainly. Certainly.
Now, so we have identified that if we didn't have these situations, but here we are, that's the situation we have. These things have happened. Now, yet today, what we find is that we have a nation that is steeped deep into divisive attitudes, if that's the way I want to coin it. You have a situation that a situation where the nation tends to want to eat itself up, wants to by the contention from the various parts. I'm sure that wasn't on the cards for the founding fathers. We have a situation where our country cannot compete industrially. We have a situation where our country cannot, in spite of all the blessings of land, arable land, of fertile land, of waters are all over the place, of fantastic weather, where you have a rotation between the dry season and the rainy season, and all this, and fair climate and all that. Our agric is still very poor. I'm sure they didn't plan for that. A situation where, for example, Malaysia came here many years ago to pick oil palm seeds and from us, and today we now go and import oil from them, where they have become a major name in that area. I'm sure that couldn't have been on the cards. What could have prompted this derailment? Aside from those factors, aside from those three things that you listed.
Governmental instability and policy flip-flops.
Corruption, right?
Of course. Corruption is a recurring decimal, and inability to entrench workable ideas. If you take industrialization as an example, Nigeria was well on the path to becoming industrialized. And these are some of the challenges that I think we have with our elite class.
If you don't mind, Doctor, let's
yes, just say Kingsley. That's yes.
Hello. Hello. How are you? Did you say Solomon?
Yes, Solomon is my name.
You're calling from where? All right, go ahead. But I have a challenge. I can't hear you too clearly.
I just called to bring you to the law as a Benima.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to confirm. Is it in NTA?
He is the one that used to be in NTA, yes.
Yes, I used to watch him on daily basis.
Right. So you are a very strong fan of his.
Yeah.
When do you
Yeah, we have to see, yes. Someone's allowed
Koyo. I took a break from Good Morning Nigeria. Yes.
Solomon, I Is my name.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Solomon. Thank you.
Thank you, all right.
Thank you.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I expected this kind of thing. Yeah, so it's a good thing. The part of the effect is is manifesting. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about industrialization and then how we got derailed. You can see the wreckage of our deindustrialization in various locations around the country. The wreckage is there. I mean, I'm sure if archaeologists were looking for evidence of how we derailed, they will find it. And some persons have sometimes tried to make a joke of it, but it's offensive, so I'm not going to repeat it, but just to convert industrial spaces into worship centers.
All right. Just a moment, please. And this is going to be the pattern for the rest of
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hello? Oh, no. Okay, do call back if you can. We just lost that. Yes, sir.
Yes. So
the relics of...
precisely, they're all around in places where we were previously industrializing. And suddenly from industrialization, deindustrialization, the next thing we moved on to financial services and evidence, all the paper stuff that you are seeing.
Yeah, there was a line you were pursuing about how industrial complexes began to turn to worship centers, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's part of the emphasis. What happened that we lost? See, Dayo, you and I are old enough. In the regions, there were industries. All we needed to do would have been to, of course, upscale those industries, add more. At the time those industries were set up, there was nothing like mechatronics, which is a field of study now.
Right.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. My name is Power. I'm calling from River State, Port Harcourt, precisely.
Power?
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Let's have your take.
Sure, guys, in my studio.
Right?
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Is it Powell or Power?
Power.
Power, yes.
Power. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, very powerful man.
You must be for you to get the name Power. Yes, I was just going to joke about that too. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, I was listening keenly to the initial narrative your guest was trying to put up. I didn't want to call, but I want to take him back because I want us to learn something from history. And it seems like he had something he wanted to unleash. So, but with that will help us pick up and then help us understand and also to key into the program. So we want to learn because I tell you, sir, to me, let me speak for myself. I'm just bitter with the way Nigeria is going. In the sense that people are getting used to it's now enough. The unthinkable happen. Police is there. People are trading on the road. You see, the keke riders, the transporters are blocking the road. There's no control. The government is there. The marketers, everybody is just doing anyhow. They bring things. They tell you, even somebody who is bringing a cucumber from his or her backyard will tell you, how much dollar cost? I import it. So people are just doing anyhow. Now it's becoming a norm. How do we save this country with this kind of decay? The government is there. Pengashin and all of them, they are fighting each other with a private company. There's no standard. Please, sir, can you help us? If you have a clue to this, how can we salvage this country? So many of us, we run an NGO. We come out to talk to people. They'll say, if government don't give us our money, bring our own money, share. There is no spirit of patriotism. Nobody wants to listen to the truth anymore. Instead, they celebrate the lies. That is conquering the good things that are supposed to help grow this country and keep this country. You mentioned Malaysia. I'm sure if they hear you now say this, they'll be excited. Who will go with shame? You asked a very pertinent question. In the aspect of trying to salvage Nigeria, what next? Our African brothers are ridiculing us. want to learn the divisive tendencies, the all of us are not helping. We want a roadmap that will channel us to where our founding fathers had promised us we were going to. Please, this is my question, sir.
Thank you, Power. Thank you, Power. Thank you so very much. I'm happy that you want to learn, and that's the whole essence of the program. That's the whole essence of the choice of topic. And I do know that what you have asked, we will get there very shortly, because that's the last part. And I'm sure in the next few minutes we will get to that part. But I'd like him to continue to stay put on the course you were on, talking about how we derailed and the relics of our derailment. Even now, yes.
Well, of course, I was talking about industrialization. Look at the blueprint of the founding fathers with respect to industrialization, the entities that they had to foster industrialization or to foster development. In the West, you had WNDC, for instance. WNDC, Western Nigeria Development Corporation.
Okay.
In the North, you had the NNDC, the Northern Nigeria Development Corporation. Of course, in the East, you also had that. You look at the broad range of industries that were emerging, and what we then tried to do. Unfortunately, of course, there was the boom in oil prices after 1973. We thought we could import any and all kinds of things. That lasted for only a few years, and then we lost it. After that, it's just been a struggle. We've been dealing with financial issues. We'll be dealing with financial issues rather than the real hard work of industrialization. And I tell you, Dayo, and I'm sure there are Nigerians who probably will agree with this. You might disagree, but there will be entities outside of this country who will be most unhappy if Nigeria were to return to the path of industrialization.
Onto the path of greatness.
Industrialization.
Yes.
Because, see, we talk about creating jobs. It's all, where are you going to get the jobs created? It's not by giving out handouts. I would just let me use one illustration. Okay,
one
on the line. Yes.
Fantastic. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're welcome to the Polity, yeah?
Hello?
Hello, you're on air, you're live.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Aha. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay. I hear Abu from Kogi.
All right, go ahead. The world can hear you.
I respect my man, Kislu Sadolo.
Thank you.
Our great man in NTA. So to get it right nowadays is very difficult to, because our founding fathers have integrity. They really wanted to build Nigeria. They believe in, they have God fearing. But sir, presently, our present leaders they've thrown that one into the dustbin, and they are because of corruption, and they're after money, grab. That's why Nigeria is failing. Thank you.
Thank you, Abu. Thank you so much. I guess I'll need to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we're running out of time.
Yes.
I think we need to concentrate a little bit more. Yes.
On the industrialization aspect I was talking about,
Yes.
I was going to give you an example. If we are not intentional about industrialization, we're not going to be able to solve most of our challenges. And you and I are in the studios. There are no fewer than 200 million other Nigerians who are out there, right?
Yeah.
Let us assume that for all 200 million of us, we buy just one vest. You are wearing a vest and wearing a vest, and one boxer. And if on the female side, you also have that.
That, yes.
200 million singlets or vests per annum. 200 million. Where does the vest come from? You know, so I want to take you back. Where does it come from? We have textile mills in this country. we watched those textile mills, those factories run down, and people came in some cases and then stripped and went away with them. Where do we get our vests from today?
As basic as vests, singlets.
Singlets, as basic. Children started school how many weeks ago? They will buy, if you are going to school, you will see them, they will go and buy those things. Where do they come from? The clothes that you and I are wearing, where is the fabric from? What is the foundation of this? Is it not cotton? Where are our cotton? When we were in primary school, we were doing geography. You will see cash crops, location of cash crops. You will draw the map like that. You will draw where this one is. Groundnut, you see the rubber, you see cotton. So what I'm saying is this. Look at, we hear value chain. Value chain. Sometimes we mouth things more than we actually practice.
Yeah.
Pursue to fruition. When Olusegun Aganga was minister of MITI, they had this agenda of CTG, cotton, textile, garment.
Okay.
That entire value chain, where are we? Zamfara is a hub. When did the banditry start in Zamfara? If people had the opportunity of working on the farms that produce cotton, and they also had the opportunity of working in the gineries before you go to textile, where will you have time to go? Somebody will come and give you gun. The gold was already in the ground. And people were and you have a cotton belt in this country. I just gave you one example. If I give you another example again, you will be saying, how? These are things we consume. We were talking about industrialization. What happened? In 1975, the administration of General Gawan opened 2 car assembly plants. Peugeot in Kaduna, Volks in Lagos.
Yeah.
Part of the intention was that within, somebody on the line?
No.
Was that within 10 years, no less than 75-80% of the parts which were CKD, that is completely knocked down, would be sourced in country.
Produced.
Go and watch if you have the films, for those who can access them online, go and watch the vehicles that the leaders during the Second Republic used. Obasanjo, when he was military head of state, declared low profile. And they were using vehicles from PAM, from Peugeot. And they go and watch the various, there were 19 governors at the time and the headers. Which vehicles were they using? And the lawmakers. So today, we will say that all lawmakers, maybe at whatever level, they will get X number of vehicles, and those vehicles will come in fully built from another jurisdiction, from another location where there are jobs.
Depleting our very scarce foreign exchange.
Depleting our very scarce, and then you see some
giving
of the
jobs over there.
And you see, this is part of the waste that that is also part of a challenge to us. We are using luxury vehicles for official duty.
Maybe for security purpose. I'll get back now. Hello?
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 I can hear you.
Apology.
Oh no, not at a time when we don't have so much time. All right. So maybe they opt for those vehicles because of security.
Well, I'm not a security expert. What occasioned the security challenge that?
That's it. They are trying to shield themselves from.
If people had jobs, would they be going about? I mean, guns are plenty in this country. We're talking about the consequences of the catastrophic events.
Yes.
If you remember, one of the major consequences of the Civil War was the availability of weapons. And that was how armed robbery became an in thing.
Yeah, from the Oyenusi days and all.
After the Civil War ended, guns were available. And then, of course, people also went out on operations in the different parts of the world, and there are also guns, no control. So you have laws, Firearms Act, for instance, and the enforcement is weak.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm Farouk Bello.
Farouk Bello. From where?
From Niger State.
Okay, go ahead quickly, yeah?
Nigerian 65 years is a problem. Ever since 1960 to 99, we are progressing in every economic ramification. But 99 to date, we are progressing. There's not any progressive in our economy. But I wish Nigeria good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we all wish Nigeria good luck, but it's not about wishes alone. We would name, because wishes are not horses. And so we would need to, and that's what we're trying to. Now, we have very few minutes to go. So you have identified industrialization as one way to go if we're to tackle insecurity, unemployment, and a whole lot of other challenges. What else should be of urgent concern to those who lead us? And then if you can put all that together, what should we be doing about our leadership recruitment process? Because that's critical. Yeah.
The first thing to repeat is intentionality about industrialization.
Right.
That intentionality also applies to whatever else we need to do. There is a whole conversation we can have around our national orientation. That is our attitude as a people.
Our values,
The
attitudes.
values, what we cherish, how we cherish them, and then the reward and punishment system.
Yeah.
We also have to worry about our leaders. We have to be concerned about, when we say leaders, it is not just, we're not talking about the top. You have leaders across, whether at the state level, local government, in business, or otherwise.
Even in homes.
In homes, there's a leadership factor.
Structure.
There's a leadership factor that is critical to us. What are the aspirations? And how can they co-opt us to say, look, this is where we are going. I'm going to exhort all of us, let our hands be on deck so that we can achieve these desirable goals. And there should be a clear national focus. Part of what you're not finding clearly these days. Look, sometimes there is a lot of work. There's a lot of work that is going on. There's a lot of effort that you are seeing. But unfortunately, things have not quite coalesced.
Coalesced.
Everyone
seems to be working in divergent.
Yes, and then so you have a sense of dissipation. You have a sense of some of the critical things that we're supposed to focus. No, that's not what we are talking about now. No, that's not what we're talking about now. And short-termism has become our goal, even in governance. I want to do this one so that you will hail me as a person.
Optics, just
look. So some in this same country, some entities have built airports, and then they will be sending in NAMA for certification so that they can be using the airport. Sometimes they will tell you agro-industrial airport. In the meantime, one of the consequences of sorry, I mean, I don't know. Look, the amount you spent in building the airport could have opened up rural roads, thereby you minimizing post-harvest losses from the farm to the market. So you go to some locations, they produce just rot away. Alternatively, the amount of money you spent in building that airport, whatever amount it is, because there's another conversation around the costing of some of these elements. Consider how you could have gotten that into a revolving fund for microfinancing, for financing cooperatives in agriculture, for even buying basic equipment to remove the drudgery of agricultural production. So you built the airport there, you say, I was the one that built it, X, Y, Z. So these are the kind of, so how do you galvanize citizens to line up behind you when you say you are going to commission an airport or you want to build an airport that has no meaning to their lives?
White elephant projects.
How will it also be? When you look at healthcare, these are the things where our citizens are rolling out, in their numbers. The big ones are also going out to go and seek medical care, medical attention. how many of, say, primary or even secondary healthcare facilities are functioning?
I said it before that I would need like 2 hours or 3 to talk with Dr. Kingsley Osadolo. And you were I mean, virtually screaming 90 minutes is too much. That's the same time that you spend playing football. But here we are. This is here we are right now, and we just scratched the surface. Well, Nigerians, please join me in saying to him that he will have to come back to Kaftan Television very shortly. I've been on his trail for close to 1 year, and I think that finally I have him, and I probably have him for keeps. At this point, we will need to go because of time. But I do hope, and I thank God for people like Power, who called from Port Harcourt, who says we want to learn. I do hope that you have learned something from this interview. I do hope that it has maybe modified your understanding of our country, Nigeria. Maybe it has opened your eyes where there has been some myopia in terms of your understanding of the issues. I do hope that we've done something. And if you think so, please do keep joining Kaftan Television. Tell them everywhere that there's no station that does it better. I'm saying thank you with that. Thank you for watching Kaftan Television. I tell your neighbors, this is where it happens. Now, thank you so much very much. Thank you so very much, Doctor.
Right.
Thank you so very much. You made my day. I've been looking forward to this. And thank you, dear production team. You are simply wonderful. At this point, my name remains Dayo Mogun, and it's bye for now.